What if Ruby was transported to my hero, the last part, the poacher? We begin this with Ruby with Aizawa as they're making their way to Hosu. So Aizawa, yes Ruby, can I tell you something? Sure. From where I came from, I feel a eerie remnant of it. What do you mean? Like, I don't know how to say it. You know where I feel like the aura of people, of living things? She explained a bit about her aura to them. I sense aura here. And I sense that someone has been following me. Or at least something, I'm not sure. When did this start? Around the time I was, left the interrogation room. Basically the interrogation building, the police station. Something's been following me. I'm pretty sure of it, or something. I don't know why, but I can sense its aura. We'll look into it. But we're gonna go patrol in Hosu. Alright? Very well. As they make their way to Hosu, as they travel around, then they hear, a message from Shoto, who obviously went to go save Ida and all that. The explosion of the Nomu happened. As Ruby goes to help, she knows something before stopping. As she looks up at a building, as a figure is standing there. As Ruby decides to follow it, as she gets on top of the building, as the creature is standing right next to the water tank, as he looks around, as she grabs her scythe, a Grim. Well, well, well. It looks like you finally noticed me. You can talk? Of course. Did Salem send you? No, I don't work for Salem. But I am here to eliminate you. As he stretches out his long hand and just throws it towards her. As she ducks down, as she shoots several bullets that were supposed to hit the poacher but hit the water container instead, as he had just sidestepped the bullets. Now, don't you want to know how you ended up in this world? As Ruby still has her scythe ready. What do you mean? You weren't supposed to end up here. You were a byproduct of a teleportation. You were supposed to land somewhere else. You were never supposed to land here. And my boss makes sure to eliminate all the other Ruby variants that disobey that rule. Currently, you're not the only one. But don't worry, I'll make your death quick, and I'll bring back your scythe as a trophy. I'm known as the Poacher. As he stretches his hand, several little syringes comes from his shorter hand, shooting towards Ruby. As Ruby swings her scythe, blocking most, but gets hit in the shoulder. Yes, little small fragments, barely noticeable to the naked eye. But it seems you noticed them quite quickly. Gotta give you credit for that. As her arm then goes limp, as she drops Crescent Rose. What happened? Yes. As the Grim looks at his claw hand, stretching his 4 fingers. I can shoot out little darts, you see. I let you have a message earlier, saying hunt, to let you know that you are being hunted. And also, these little syringes has a toxic effect. It immobilizes anyone that is struck by them. Very useful. As the Grim starts walking towards Ruby, I have a job to do. And trust me, I am here to eliminate you from existence. As he lifts up his hand with the claw, as he swings it down, as Ruby evades to the left, leaving a crater in the side of the building from where the Grim had swung his arm. Okay, we can have a bit more fun. After all, the Grim looks off in the distance, seeing the fire. No one's gonna notice you're gone with the chaos the LOV is doing in this timeline. The LOV? The League of Villains, if you haven't heard. I was informed of them myself. But this is really my first assignment. Second, if you count the other timeline, that was a failure, but still, it was a successful mission on my part. As Ruby doesn't know what the Grim is talking about, as then she barely managed to duck and avoid as his hand had just struck where she was standing. As she noticed Crescent Rose on the other side of the building, as the poacher picks it up with his hand. Interesting weapon. I should be used to fighting you by now. But each version is different, as he simply tosses the scythe off the building. As Ruby tries to go into the rose petal form, seen that trick once already, as the clawed arm wraps around her neck before throwing her straight into the water container, breaking it as water starts pouring out. Yeah, you thought I would let you go. As her neck is bleeding a bit from the little spikes on his long hand that had wrapped around her neck and threw her into the water container. I can't let you live, you see. My boss would be very mad at me. And I can't disappoint the boss. And if I somehow fail, more will come to eliminate you. As he stretches out his hand, ready to send several little syringes towards Ruby's face, as then the Grim gets punted by a kick in the face, sending it to hit a side of a building before falling into an alleyway, as Aizawa had come to help. As he goes over to Ruby, "Are you alright?" As she checks on Ruby before going to look down the alleyways, the Grim is gone. He got away. As Ruby loses consciousness, as her neck is bleeding, the back of her head is bleeding, her arm is just immobilized for at least a time. As she gets rushed to the hospital, and as she's getting rushed to the hospital, a Grim, the same Grim the poacher, is watching from a building. Go ahead. Nowhere's safe for her to hide, after all. You may have noticed me this time. Next time you won't be so lucky. If I wasn't to refrain from killing anyone from this universe, I would have eliminated you. As the Grim just vanishes. As Ruby was taken to a hospital, as her wounds were being treated. Also, this poacher has a special ability that bypasses aura. Hence, how she was injured and the blades hit her. The reason it's named the Poacher. As Ruby wakes up several hours later, conveniently next to the beds of Ida, Midoriya, Shoto, but they get an entirely different conversation from the detective as Aizawa comes in to question. Ruby, what was that? As Ruby gets up, as she speaks very hardly, a Grim. A Grim? That creature you talked about. Yes. Apparently it was ordered to kill me. As she's speaking softly, as her throat is a bit hurt from, well, where the Grim attacked. I don't know why, but I don't think it will just stop at this. You're lucky I showed up, as I should be fine if I recover. As Aizawa and, of course, the rest of the students would be released with minor injuries and all that. As they had left, as Ruby looks towards the window, as the poacher's just sitting at the windowsill. You thought you could escape me. As Ruby reaches to grab Crescent Rose, but Crescent Rose isn't there. You really think I would let your weapon sit by your side? I'm a professional. As he aims his arm that shoots the syringes out towards her head, as then Ruby uses her silver eyes, which the Grim raises its arm as the arm turns to stone as the Grim falls out the window. Ah! As, of course, the commotion of a window shattering causes some people to come in to check up on Ruby. As we go to another building, as the Grim has lost its arm, you know how long it takes to regenerate? Stupid girl. You're only delaying your inevitable demise. As it looks at its stoned arm, which broke off as he severed it. What was that? I wasn't informed that she had any other powers. All but her semblance. Why? Was I tricked? No, the boss would not lie to me. He wants them eliminated at all cost. As then someone appears. As it happens to be Shigaraki and Kurogiri. We noticed you were hanging after one of the students. As the poacher simply glares at Shigaraki and, well, Kurogiri. Before it closes its eyes and just simply vanishes out of view of the, well, Shigaraki and Kurogiri, which were trying to convince the poacher to join their side, but he just vanished. As the poacher is in, like, some sort of, like, high tower, as it's leaning against some metal, as its arm starts to slowly regenerate. I better not fail, or else. As it looks at its almost fully regenerated arm, just you wait. As a matter of a few days would pass, as the events of the training and all that to go to the training camp would happen. Now, on the way to the training camp, the poacher would follow the bus, obviously, where Ruby was on. Although it's injured, it still follows because it has a mission to complete. As Class 1A starts to question how Ruby got her injuries on the bus. I was attacked by a villain, she would say. It must have been a strong villain if it managed to keep up with you, Bakugo said. What was its quirk? I don't know. It could shoot syringes that could paralyze a person. It shot my arm and I dropped Crescent Rose, and its speed was quite fast. Possibly a speed quirk or even a projectile quirk, maybe. Poison, maybe? As Izuku is writing this down in a notebook. As the poacher is watching from a distance, as it's running along the mountainside, simply looking through the bus. If that Izuku Midoriya figures out any weaknesses on me and tells Ruby this could be a lot harder to defeat her. I have to take her down as soon as she's alone. No interferences this time. As then the Grim stops as a number appears. One more chance. Great. Now I have one more chance to Why did I waste my time on playing with my prey? This is what I get. As the Grim follows Ruby to the training camp. Now, of course, he would wait, like, a few more days to where they do, like, the round around where the LOV attacks. Now, because they're all separated, the poacher takes his time and waits as Ruby, well, had just gotten to Coda and starts fighting Muscular. As the poacher's on top of the mountain watching as Muscular increases his fabric to punch Ruby, as Ruby just simply dives down, lifts her scythe, cutting the fabric, but not cutting through, well, Muscular, sending him back, as she would shoot several, well, bolts, electric bolts, and also with the help of Izuku, defeated Muscular. Except Izuku is not as badly injured as Canon in this one because Ruby came and helped. But when, well, Izuku left with Coda, Ruby said, "Come down, I know you're watching." As the poacher simply just drops from the top of the mountain and lands behind Ruby. Why wait? If you knew I was here, you could have asked your friend to help. They would only get in the way. I know you're stronger than him. Smart estimate, but you still could have told him to get back up. But I do appreciate you making this easier for me. As she points Crescent Rose, I won't fail this time. Sure you will. As the poacher rushes towards Ruby, swinging its long arm, as she would use Crescent Rose to deflect his arm, shoot bullets towards the poacher, which would dodge before trying to shoot some projectiles of his own, which Ruby would use her semblance to go around before shooting, Crescent Rose, hitting the Grim in the shoulder. As it swings its long arm, kind of like a whip in the air, trying to hit Ruby. As Ruby lands back before ducking, as when its arm hit the rock, it absolutely shattered several pieces of rock, causing a sort of avalanche. As the rocks came coming down, as the poacher seemingly swings its arm, destroying the debris, as then Ruby would come straight out of the debris and slice off its long arm. As the poacher shoots several projectiles at Ruby. You think this will stop me? As then Ruby uses her silver eyes, which covers a wide varying area. As the Grim's entire body is turned to stone, as only its head, as it had managed to somehow stop it. Who sent you? I can't give up who sent me. But I will tell you something. You kill me, you go back to the original timeline you're supposed to go to. And you know I can't stay in this world or I'll cause as much havoc as, you know. Just tell me who sent you. Can't do that. As then suddenly, Ruby would shatter the Grim's body. As the Grim was falling, as Ruby, basically shot her sniper before slicing the poacher's head several ways. Basically into pieces. As Ruby sighs, okay, that's over. As she looked down, as that portal had opened up, and as she fell through. And that is the end of What If Ruby Was Transported to My Hero. Make sure to like and subscribe for more.